FlurrySports Podcast live on the FlurrySports YouTube channel, on Twitter, on Twitch. So definitely subscribe. I think it like lights up or something now when I say that. So give it a subscribe if you're watching this live right now. Jump in the chat. Do all of the above. FlurrySports Podcast, episode 190.
We're closing in.
Are we thinking 194? Is that correct, do you think?
I think it's one. Oh, we just did
197? Okay, we're closer than I thought.
We're close.
Oh, man, our plans for episode 200 are
They're
coming
crazy.
to fruition. It's just a scheduling thing at this point. When's the ball pit get brought in? When do we blow up the bouncy castle? It's going to be great for our audio listeners. It's just going to be us with wireless mics jumping up and down on a trampoline. It's going to be a lot of huffing and puffing, but it's going to be a great episode. Not to tease too much.
Do we close or end with Doug Peterson announcing his absence from the Jags?
They are delaying it so long where it does feel like they're like, you should say you're stepping away. Like, we want it to be your decision. We're not going to force your hand, but it'd be best for everybody if you think it's time to step away. And they're torturing him. They're like, if he has a bad game against the league's best team this weekend, he's going to get shit canned. They say it before the game. Pressure's on. And then they get routed by the Detroit Lions. And then they keep him there. They just stare at him after the game. That's insane. It's stupid.
He's saving it for episode 200.
He is. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Khan family. That's a great thing there. But NFL, way better than last weekend. I will say that. Not, low bar to set. Chargers, new Chargers team. That's a game they blow last night. And they somehow pulled it out. That's how you know the Chargers are for real, by the way.
That does feel like it might be a passing of the torch to the Bengals. It
does.
Yeah, Mr. Sure. Can't get it done.
Yeah, you guys are cursed forever now. I love Jim Harbaugh. He's incredible. I love what Herbert's about at this point. I don't know if he's great. I don't know if he's good, but I love what he's about. Good stuff. But as
Packers
crazy
crushed the Bears.
Packers
never
destroyed
doubt in our
them.
mind.
It wasn't even close, really. Like, bold strategy to kick it through the chest of a defender. But you know what? That's what the Bears do.
Claire showed me a video today of a little kid who's a Bears fan, Caleb Williams jersey, who's just crying. He was like, Dad, we can't lose like this, can we? And I had a moment. Claire's like, oh, it's so sad. I literally had a moment where I was like, sucks to suck, kid. I was like, that's what you get. This rivalry's been going on for 100 years. Read the papers.
No kidding. I don't know how anybody who's like getting into football chooses to be a Bears fan at this point. That's on you. You can't even complain.
I know. And by the way, this is not their worst loss this season.
No, there's been a few. There's been a few. But as crazy as that's been, I mean, we started the show last week with it. We're going to start the show, I think, quite a few times over the next several weeks with college football playoff update, because this is the most electric storyline in sports every single year, and it's just getting even better with more teams. And it's not for the reasons you think. It's because of the strategery going on behind the scenes to just they set up every situation. Like, if this happens, we need a backup plan, so our plan goes in place. And it's been incredible to watch. It's been hilarious. Jake and I were talking about this before the show, laughing, getting angry. And Jake has a point to make. And I would love to hear what the point is, because he didn't bring it up because he knows it's going to make me mad, I guess. So let's hear it.
Well, here's the thing, Zach. First off, everyone, we are on CFB Watch 2024. The most stressful time of the year. Here's what you need to watch. The difference through the first however many parts of the year in the first college football rankings, the playoff rankings and the AP rankings, pretty lockstep. Now, we have a big split. I'm going to start with not the part that you're teasing, Zach, but just to give the audience a little boat. You want to see what the rankings do, what they have to prioritize, conferences, Zach, like we talked about last week. So if you look at the AP rankings, and again, we record Monday nights, So you'll have the updated CFB rankings, but I'm going to spoil them for you. All right, a little spoiler warning, okay?
Okay.
They're not going to be the AP rankings because the AP rankings have dropped BYU all the way out of the top 12. They are now 14.
Okay. Great.
Which means in the AP rankings, there are no Big 12 teams in the top 13 even.
Okay.
They've got Boise State in there, our boys.
Yeah, of course. Love them.
Love them. So they got them in there. So they don't even have them in there. Of course, the college football rankings do, but what are they going to do with BYU's loss? Probably keep them in. They got to keep something warm because right now the AP rankings would tell you, even if Colorado beats BYU, they shouldn't be in. Wrong.
Correct.
You got to get
yeah, there's no shot.
Yeah, of course. So Texas A&M is hanging around because they have to play Texas. Tennessee and Georgia are both in there. So, Zach, we've got a lot of wild things, but here's what you need to watch.
Okay.
It's 6 in the AP rankings, Notre Dame. In last week's, the most recent as we record college football playoff rankings, Notre Dame, number 8.
Yep.
They play who this coming week, Zach?
Our pride and joy, Army.
That's right. All week, Zach, I've been seeing this online. Notre Dame needs to join a conference. Everyone listened to our podcast, and they were right. And they went, Notre Dame needs to join a conference. Can't believe Notre Dame is ranked so high. And this is what I'm telling folks right now. We may have fucked ourselves. Because I thought of this. I wanted to save it for the show, Zach, because it's fired up as we were getting. Notre Dame could beat Army. No big whoop. It's Notre Dame.
Yep.
Army could beat Notre Dame and both of them get knocked out of the top 12.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Fuck them. They made Notre Dame a top 6. They haven't played anybody.
No. They lost who was the school they lost to earlier in the year? I'll look really quick.
Northern Illinois. I got
Northern Illinois. Yeah, that's an automatic. You're done. You're kicked out.
So they're going to go, well, no, they lost to Northern Illinois and Army. See ya. No, give me Army, goddammit. But they don't want to because that would automatically knock one of the other conferences out because Notre Dame gets in with their loosey-goosey non-conference rules.
Yep.
If you let Army in, the American Conference becomes, I would guess, unless they let 5 conferences in, but I think they won't knock Notre Dame if they put Army in. They'll just keep them both in.
I think if Notre Dame loses, I think they're out. I think they're willing to pull the plug on Notre Dame.
I think it will all come down to this. We are on Army watch, folks. Aren't we always? But we're on Army watch this week because
we are.
How high ranked will they be? Because they're a top 20 team. How high ranked will they be coming in? Because if Notre Dame loses to it like team 17, but they're 5 or whatever, like if Notre Dame weirdly jumps Indiana this week or Penn State for some reason, it's going to be because they're hedging their bets of Notre Dame's not leaving no matter what. If Notre Dame weirdly passes a team for no reason, we know what's about to happen. It's a hedge bet. They can always pass whoever next time. I bet they pass Indiana, and here's my prediction. This will look really skip this if this was already proven wrong. They're going to be ahead of Indiana because Indiana and Ohio State play next week anyway.
Sure.
So if Indiana wins, they'll pass them. If Indiana loses, they'll be behind them anyway. So they'll pass them for no reason. Then if Army wins, they both get in. But that would most likely mean, unless you're willing to knock an SEC or Big Ten team out of the top 12, which I don't know if they're willing to do, it would mean they knock, I would think at this point, depending on either the ACC or the Big 12.
That's very, very possible. The only reason why I think they could keep Indiana high is because they think they're going to lose to Ohio State. And they want to keep Indiana as that like quirky, this is the team that's not supposed to be here, even though
they
it's
wouldn't drop Indiana below like 6. But like this week, Notre Dame was 8 and Indiana was 5. So if all of a sudden it's like, and BYU lost and Tennessee lost. So if all of a sudden it's like Notre Dame, because Notre Dame would hop those teams, like Notre Dame is most likely going to be 6. If Notre Dame is weirdly 5th, and Indiana 6. Something's in the water.
I agree. That's something we for sure need to keep an eye on.
We're on Army
so
watch.
Dumb. We are on Army watch.
Here's what I want to happen at this point. I don't want the ACC in.
Same. Yeah. I mean, if there's an ACC team, for sure can't be Miami.
I want at that point to beat Miami.
Put them out. Yep.
And then Army beats Notre Dame. And they go, I guess we're taking those two. And then they drop out. Or bite the bullet and kick out Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's fine. We don't need Ole Miss in there, but what did Ole Miss do this past weekend?
Well, they beat Georgia the week before, but...
Oh, right. They were off this past week.
Yeah. This is what the SEC
Ole Miss is
doing.
Fun, though, too.
Folks, I've got news for you. We can't... This is the SEC, the Big Ten's trick, especially the SEC. Well, we can't kick out so-and-so because they beat so-and-so. They all fucking beat each other, so we can't do it, or Van Diesen.
That's a good point. And why not, by the way? That's fine. Let him in. That quarterback can run, and it's fun to watch.
It's so true. I do wish, again, I wish there was one more at large that was just public voting. But those are the things to watch in college football this week. I think it's getting wild. That and the Badgers almost fucked everything up for everybody.
I was so close to going to that game that at the start of the fourth quarter, Wisconsin always gives me a reason to believe before crushing. That's what every Wisconsin sports team does. But at the start of the fourth quarter, it's tied. I'm like, son of a bitch. I could have watched the number 1 overall team go down, and then I was reminded, oh yeah, it's Wisconsin. Like, of course, Oregon's going to win. It doesn't matter.
You could have stormed the field so carefully, Zach.
So carefully. I would have stormed the field for Oregon winning. That's fine. I would have just been storming everywhere.
Imagine you storming the field is just holding every joint in place, making sure nothing gets hurt on the way down.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Wait for the goalpost to come to you.
True. If Oregon did lose that game, would they have dropped them? Would they have dropped them? Like, you almost can't.
Here's a fun trivia question for you. I know the answer, and I want folks at home to play along. Zach, answer with me. Who would have dropped more if Oregon lost? Oregon or Boise State?
I thought you were going to say Oregon or Wisconsin.
No, Boise. Also funny question. But Boise State too, whose only merit is almost beating Oregon.
True. That is true.
I think Oregon would have dropped to...
They
wouldn't have dropped too far because they have to play the Big Ten championship game yet.
Right, yeah. And Ohio State's there with 1 loss, so I'm not sure if they would drop.
I think they would have dropped to like 3 because they let Ohio State and the other ones mess it up. But they have to keep them above Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten's also messy. They shouldn't all be that high. There's no Big Ten team in between Penn State and...
Penn State, Indiana, back-to-back 4 and 5.
True. Sorry. So between Indiana, there's no other Big Ten team in the top 30.
Yeah. And they just have that because it's going to sort itself out, but still.
Correct. Anything else you want to add on college football? But this is about to get crazy, Zach. And I think next week, let's start booking storylines. Or do we wait 2 weeks to do that?
No, we can start doing it.
I think it'll be pretty clear next week. Post Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been a bigger Indiana fan. Like, the country's behind Indiana. We need this game, but we know what's going to happen.
Today, we're all Hoosiers.
We are, but I know it's going to be a 6. Like, what was the Ohio State Wisconsin score that one time? 58-0, 53-0, something like that. Like, that's what this feels like it's going to be. It's going to be Big Ten championship.
I know. I do feel like Indiana somehow is giving Ohio State too much bulletin board material. Like, Indiana coach was out. For sure. Indiana coach was out this week being like, why'd I leave? I'm at the fastest growing superpower in college football.
God. He's like he's throwing it off the backboard to himself, essentially in the middle of sideline interviews. Like, how many wins do we got? 10? Not so bad. Oh, okay. Weird.
I don't think there's a world where Indiana drops out of playoffs with a loss. any loss.
No, but if they lose, are we just going to see a rematch?
Well,
for the Big Ten championship?
No, because now that Oregon won, that's set.
Oh,
yeah.
Or in my mind, Oregon, I can't comprehend Oregon's in the fucking Big Ten.
Yeah. So
God,
Oregon's in. So the Oregon Trail. I'm trying to remember how the Oregon Trail leads through the Big Ten Conference. But so that said, I think Indiana set. So here's what I was going to pitch right now, a little storybook. I'm kind of into a close Indiana loss. I don't want Indiana to peak too early. I'm kind of into a close Indiana loss here. If it means I could see that being like, now we're kicking ass in the playoffs.
Well, honestly, the best scenario for Indiana, I think, is a close Indiana loss because Ohio State plays Michigan the week after that. Let's just say Ohio State barely beats Indiana, loses to Michigan. They have the Big Ten championship against Oregon, loses to Oregon. And I think Ohio State could get knocked completely out. And Indiana stays in without having to be in the Big Ten championship. That might be the way in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the best case scenario because in my mind, Ohio State already lost to Michigan. Like, I just feel like there's no shot they win that game. Michigan's not very good, but Ohio State is Ohio State.
They are. That's a funny. I'm sorry. I wanted to pick on you a little bit, but you're right. They are Ohio State. The Ohio State. I think.
No.
Indiana, like them going in undefeated into the playoffs feels like a recipe for disaster.
True.
And here's what I don't want to see. This is the thing. I want parity in sports all the time. For the love of God, don't make me watch Indiana Army. It's like the worst. That's the worst outcome. Army sneaks in and their big boy opponent is Indiana. Okay, we can agree on this, right? That's what you and I need to be in the rankings room so that it's like they won't let us make any selections, but can they let us help out so that when we get to the selections, we can help with matchups?
Oh, for sure.
If Indiana's the fucking like highest seed without a bye and they get Army or Boise State, move someone around.
Yeah.
Don't let us do that. Because Alabama's going to be one of those teams. Make Alabama play Army.
For sure. That is, who would that be then? Yeah, we don't want. For sure. So Boise State or SMU, I feel like will be one of the last teams in. I feel like that's what it's setting up. So we just can't have Indiana being the powerhouse, but not really the powerhouse.
Or potentially Colorado, depending on how they rank things ahead of time.
If Colorado gets in, I don't know how they're 12. Like, if they're in, I feel like they're 6. Like, they're going to, jump them extremely high.
I agree with you. I just think it'll all depend on where BYU is ranked this week.
Also, it's the top 4 conferences get an automatic bye, right?
Automatic bid, I believe.
Okay, I think it's the bye. I think it's the top 4 conference winners. So even if Colorado sneaks in as Big 12 championship, they would get a bye, I think. Assuming there's not 4 other conferences.
Right, first off, sorry, made myself laugh. Instead of looking at college football playoff rules, I looked up CFB rules, and it gave me the fucking rule book. I was like, thanks for telling me what holding is.
Sure. I'm pretty confident I'm right. Because BYU still had a bye.
You are 100% correct. Well, that's how come they're not going to. Okay. The top 4 conference champions are seeded 1 through 4 and receive a first round bye. The remaining teams are seeded 5 through 12 and play each other in the first round. The higher ranked team hosts the game on their own field. And then in the second round, will there be another bye for the top 2 teams?
I don't think so.
They'll go 12. No, you're right. It'd be 8, then 4, then 2. We talked about that last week. Okay. So Army. Have some fun, dude. Here's what we need to do. We're back on Notre Dame watch. Some Notre Dame asshole is going to go, don't we get a bye?
Right. Oh, just because we're not in a we're one of the 4 best teams. No, you're not. Shut up.
How about these, dude? Yeah.
Join a conference, losers.
I know. So, okay, we're back on that watch. All right, we've really got it all played out. Okay. Yeah, so Colorado would have a bye. Whoever wins, Is there any world where they don't let the Big 12 or ACC in?
ACC, I think. Big 12, I feel like there's too many teams lurking to not have one.
But a lot of them just lost, Well,
I think there's no shot your Wildcats get in. I think K-State is there for fun.
They just lost. KU wrecked somebody's dreams. But
I mean, let's just say, I just feel like if BYU shits the bed, they'll be so excited to put Colorado in there. As long as Colorado doesn't embarrass themselves. What's their schedule here? They play Kansas, which I guess is dangerous now. And then they have OK State.
KU, I'm not going to give them any praise. Quietly has barely lost to everybody. All their games have been decided by 1 point.
Well, okay, this is another reason why K-State's ranked so high. It's because Colorado barely lost to them. So as long as they can stay high, then it's that's not really that bad of a loss because K-State's ranked so high. So they may keep K-State higher than they should.
I mean, that's what I'm rooting for, to see how much are they going to cater to the Big 12? Because Clemson's high for the same reason the ACC. I think the question mark will be Boise State.
Yeah, they'll probably. They were 13, so
if Army wins, there's chaos. But they could always just hit the eject button and sub them out for Notre Dame. But
yeah. I really hope so. This Army team's so good.
And then
can beat.
If Army beats Notre Dame and then loses their championship game,
lose to Navy.
Yeah. So that's, by the way, that can happen. So let's keep all of our options on the table. But this has been a fun college football talk. Now I think I'm nauseous. I was just all the things that could go wrong. And by the way, we know exactly how it's gonna go. Chalk in all the ways you don't need it to, and the world's way, the Georgia win over Tennessee that just meant that they were for sure both in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But even though every commentator told me, even if Georgia loses, how are they not a top 12 team?
I hate that.
Why do we play the games?
Yeah. Are they in? Are they one of the best 12? Then whatever. Why are we playing? So stupid. Maybe Georgia's not as good this year. Would that be crazy to think?
And it was Kirk Herbstreit, so I'll give him a pass because he had a cute dog. But
shout out Ben.
I like Ben.
Kirk. I like Kirk, by the way. Just across the board.
I do too. I also I'm watching him. Peter came on a little fast.
Okay, fair enough.
Ben, we just had memorials for Ben, and I met a new dog this week.
I actually didn't see it. I assume that's what you're talking about.
He's a 1-year-old. He's got a 1-year-old golden who's on now too.
They just subbed him out. They just did a little switcheroo.
It's what it feels like to me.
Like the goldfish died and they replaced before the kid woke up. Can't do that to me. I don't like that.
Yeah. Kirk Herbstreit's new companion, Peter, Steele Show at College Game Day. Well, great.
Okay. And we bring on our guest, Luke.
Luke!
Hey guys.
Okay, so we were just wrapping up college football talk. Any random college football thoughts before we switched what you're actually here for?
People who say that Will Johnson is the best corner in NCAA, we're not in 2022 anymore, guys.
No,
we're not.
It's
yeah. I have one more thing too. I kind of said it on our show last week, but once again, I don't want to see Indiana. I don't ever want to see Indiana play football. I still don't want them to see them play football. They're 12.5 point underdogs. That's not a number 5 team in the country. This is what's going to happen if they're in the playoffs.
I know. Like, I just got done saying this feels like Ohio State, Wisconsin Big Ten championship.
For sure.
Like, I hope not. But good God, if they get boat raced, I don't even know. I think there's a chance they fully drop out, Jake. I really do think that. If they lose by 40, they're going to be like, what were we doing?
It's going to be 20-0 after the first quarter.
It's going to be like the hookup you regret the next morning. They're going to be like taking a shot. This is disgusting. Like, why were we doing this?
I feel you're right. Here's our only hope. Even if they get whooped, how many points do they have to beat Purdue by to make up for it?
1 million.
They might, though.
Yeah.
I was like, what's their last game? If they lose by 30 to Ohio State but beat Purdue by 50, I think there's enough other things that will happen that it'll get sorted out.
Now, here's my question to you, because we kind of talked through this scenario. Let's just say Ohio State wins by 40, okay?
Yep.
They play Michigan the next week. Let's assume they lose, because that's what they do.
Okay. Yep, correct.
Then they might be in the Big Ten championship to play Oregon. Ohio State might get another loss. Like, is Ohio State knocked out then?
Yeah, probably. But I was
stupid.
I was kind of listening to you guys before. Like, Ohio State is one of the best 12 teams in the country, in my opinion.
For sure.
But
yeah.
that just goes against the point. Like, why are we even playing the games? Like, that's what it was last year when they left Florida State out. There's like no point in playing games in college football.
Even though they ended up being right up Florida State.
Correct.
In hindsight.
Well, yeah. But if there was 12, if there was 12 teams last year, Florida State's not in, by the way.
No.
Yeah, ACC, no love. I will say, though, Luke, that's such a good point, and it makes me think of, all right, they lose by 40, but Ohio State loses to Michigan. You know who beat Michigan? Indiana. We're back.
Oh. I don't know, Jake. I said like I have no reason to watch Indiana lose by 58 to Alabama in the first round of college football playoffs.
But my argument would be we had to watch Alabama lose to Georgia by 30.
I guess.
So I just want fun. I just want more football, but I don't know if our quality will be with more football. Some of the games will be better.
Well, see, the big college football people would love to see Indiana get in and lose by 50, though, because these people are big. I told you so, guys. Like, they would love nothing more. It's like last year when Florida State got destroyed by Georgia in that bowl game. They were taking their victory lap around the entire country. Like,
and
no shit.
I will say, Zach, to your point of there's no world. The Big Ten is so insulated at the top. There's no world where any of these remaining teams get multiple losses at the end here, because even if Ohio State loses to Michigan, Penn State would
be in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, because Penn State is just behind Indiana and Ohio State. Those two kind of cancel each other out because there's no way for Penn State to pass both of them. But if they both lose, Penn State just passes them. So that's the thing, is it helps everybody but Indiana. That's my only thing, is like these other three are booked. They haven't beat anybody any more impressive.
What I'm just trying to avoid, and this will put a cap on my take on it. I think this encapsulates it perfectly. Is in our first year ever of a 12-team playoff, we cannot end the season with another game like Georgia TCU.
No, we better not. I'm afraid it's going to happen anyways. Just like once we get down to 8 or 4 again, like I just feel like everything's going to be the same. We're just going to complain about it.
But TCU Michigan was perfect.
It was.
RG3 had a baby in the middle of it.
He sure did.
True. That is true.
Not at all. I know. Well, I think we have a special something for Luke, don't we, Zach?
Yes, we do. So, Luke, check your Slack. I'm sending you something right now. A lot of things are happening in the NFL, and a lot of things happen right in front of us, right? But then there's these situations that are happening behind closed doors, and that's what we are bringing you some insider knowledge here. So, breaking news today, Daniel Jones got benched. Mm-hmm. And what we're doing today is figuring out what actually happened behind closed doors. So I asked Grok, our friend who actually hates me, according to last week's show, or at least likes Jake more. But I wanted to know what was the conversation that went on there. And I have a script. So I sent you it on Slack. Jake, you got it over there. Jake, would you like to be Daniel Jones or Brian Daboll? And Luke, I'm guessing I think you'll really fill the room here as Tommy DeVito.
Can you send it in our chat? Because I'm on my phone.
Oh, sure.
I think I've got a lot.
I sent it to the viewers. If anyone wants to read it, you can read it right there.
That's kind of fun. I think I got a lot of Daniel Jones in me, so I think I'm going to go that way.
Okay. So again, Daniel Jones benched. It was inevitable, and they're moving on not to Drew Lock. No, not the second best quarterback. They're going back to Tommy Cutlets, back to Tommy DeVito. We did this last year. I think a couple weeks ago on one of the shows, I said it was like the NFL's version of Linsanity, and we're taking it another round, I guess. I'm excited for it, but we do have the full script here. Let me know. I typed in, by the way, I just wanted a comedy scene. I said, let's just make this funny. And I did a brief scan over. I don't think we have any more of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy references, Jake, thank God. But it should be good. Are we all ready? Are we all in character?
No.
Okay. Jake, what are you hoping for Tommy Cutlets this week?
So sorry. I got out of my room. What do you mean? What am I? You're just like asking me as a person. I was getting in the character as Daniel Jones.
I'm just saying, like, are we hoping it's a Mike White situation where it's like every time we hear his name, he goes insane? Or are we just wanting complete disaster in the Meadowlands?
Sorry, I'll get out of character for a second.
You're not Daniel Jones answering the question.
I hope he breaks his leg. But it's my Daniel Jones impression, by the way. But
great.
I would say I'm conflicted. I want him to thrive. I do think that's the only. I think they did this instead of Drew Lock because if Tommy DeVito soars, Joe Shane's going to be like, I knew we had it in the locker room. And I don't want that. I don't want any world where Joe Shane claims that like this was all part of the plan. We knew we had the talent in the room with us.
It's insane. Like I don't understand it. It just feels like they're hoping to get a better draft pick. They're tanking for, I don't know if it's for Shadura at this point or whatever the hell they're doing.
For the sake of storylines and honestly, Brian Daboll, I hope Tommy just. I mean, I think I will say, I don't know why they went back to Daniel Jones. I mean, I know why they went back to Daniel Jones, but he hasn't been that much better than fucking Tommy DeVito.
I mean, the problem's not Daniel Jones. We talked about this a million times. It's like, we're going to give Daniel Jones the best chance to succeed this season. And so let's just make his offensive line bad. And we'll give him Malik Neighbors, who's going to bitch at him, but he's super talented. Like he's not in a position to succeed. But now Tommy DeVito gets the Buccaneers this week, coming off a bye. So now Buccaneers, now they're scrambling, Jake, because they just had a bye. They're preparing for Daniel Jones, and now they have to scrap it because now Tommy DeVito's in there. Then they get the Cowboys, the Saints, and then the Ravens. So Tommy DeVito could have 3 good weeks here. I will say Tommy DeVito going to Jerry World and beating the Cowboys is fun. That's a very funny story.
With Tom Brady on the call.
True. That is so true.
What I want is Tommy DeVito to cost them the number 1 overall pick. For sure. Of course, as he will. And then all 3 quarterbacks in the room be a Pro Bowler somewhere else, which I think is a real possibility.
Sure seems like it. Drew Lock still hasn't gotten a chance, which is fun.
Yeah.
And then, Daniel Jones is going to be like one of the best backups next season. And he's going to go he's going to Gardner Minshew it or something. It's going to be fine. It's not going to be great. It's going to be fine though.
Sure seems that way. I do think football is more fun when the Giants are relevant. So here's hoping, but I mean, what I'm expecting is just a fucking shit show. I think they're going to get stomped.
Well, it also sounds like they're not going to make any changes, like in terms of
one change.
General manager or head coach. I love Daboll. I don't think that should be like, but how do you bring back Shane after Hard Knocks, after this season, the owner was heartbroken that he didn't bring back Saquon. And then now he gets to see Saquon do a 360 hurdle and just go crazy.
Joe Shane's son is going viral because he said you should drop Jane Daniels. I saw a clip going viral today of the one random assistant scout who was like, "Are we sure we don't want to re-sign Saquon?" And everyone's like, "Shut up, nerd." Yeah, and it's like,
it's incredible how much better like the average person can be a GM than NFL GMs right now.
At least half of them, no idea what they're doing. They have no clue.
No.
It's fun. And to give a little look at the incompetence maybe of the NFL, we do have an insider look here at the Giants locker room. So I'll set the scene here. I'll read the screen. I don't even know what it's called. Not screen notes, but if there's any like setting stuff, I'll read it throughout it. Cause again, I haven't really fully read it. But the room is filled with tension of post-game analysis. Brian Daboll, the head coach, is pacing back and forth, clipboard in hand. Daniel Jones, the Giants quarterback, sits nervously at the front, his helmet hanging low. So again, I am Brian Daboll. Jake is Daniel Jones, and Luke is new starting quarterback Tommy DeVito. So Brian Daboll. So Daniel, about that game, you played. How should I put this?
Like I was trying to throw the ball to the other team.
For practice?
For practice. Fuck. I'm ad-libbing. Sorry, I didn't know I had no liberty.
Yeah, you gotta set it up for me. Exactly, but we're not in practice. Okay. We're in the real game. And I'm not sure if you've noticed, but the scoreboard keeps track of these things. Daniel Jones looks down dejected. I've got some paperwork here. It's not your performance review. It's your transfer to the bench.
Oh, great. Is the bench comfortable at least?
We're bringing in Tommy DeVito. He's Italian.
Is that supposed to mean something?
It means he's going to throw the ball like he's making pasta with flair, and sometimes, just sometimes, the ball goes actually where it should. Enter Tommy DeVito, swaggering in confidence that's both charming and misplaced. He's holding a football like a loaf of bread.
Hey, coach, I'm ready to throw the ball. I make the spiral like Nana makes the gnocchi.
Is this a football team or a cooking show?
It's a bit of both right now. We need flair, Daniel. The fans want entertainment. And Tommy here, he's entertainment.
And I promise I throw the ball like I make the sauce. But I make a sauce too.
I like that I'm in on this. Coach, are you sure about this?
Yes, Daniel. Sometimes you got to make a bold move. Like when Italy won a World Cup with unconventional strategy.
Hey, I'm going to win you back your spot. But first, let's eat. I brought the spaghetti.
Daniel Jones looks from the clipboard to Tommy DeVito and then back to Brian Daboll.
I guess it's time for me to learn how to make some meatballs then.
That's the spirit. Now let's get to work. And Tommy, let's see if you can cook up some victories. They all exit with Tommy DeVito leading the way, tossing the football up and catching it like it's his pasta routine. And I assume that's exactly how it happened. Just like that. And if you heard anything about Tommy DeVito, like we're going to hear all week, he's Italian. That's all we really know about him, isn't that?
Well, you know what the best part of Tommy DeVito is, and I hope we get a lot of it, is his agent.
His agent is like, he won an award last year for being the most Italian. That's all that was.
If you're making an Italian in the lab, it's his agent.
He's insane. And then he was like everywhere for a week.
Yeah.
It was insane. I'm excited. I'm very excited about this.
I like that that can't be what's happening, but even AI is like, are they like building up Daniel Jones? I have a feeling that's what they're fucking doing is they're like, we don't want you to get hurt out there, Daniel. We got to save you.
It would be the most Giants thing ever to get a top 3 draft pick. Do not draft the quarterback. And then Daniel Jones comes back on a cheaper salary.
Yeah.
And that's probably what's going to happen.
Luke, you killed that. Have you done acting before?
Just voice acting.
Mm.
Oh, well,
I actually put my name in for the Mario movie, but they chose Chris Pratt instead.
Which, by the way, even Steven there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Not everyone can play Mario like Chris Pratt did. He did. He was one of a kind. Any other NFL takeaways from this week? There's a lot that happened, I suppose. We kind of said, Luke, before you came on, this was sort of the Chargers passing the torch of just being a bad football team that doesn't win close games to the Bengals. I feel like that happened.
Well, if Anthony Lynn or Mike McCoy are coaching that game, that's an easy Chargers loss.
Oh, for sure. They would have been in it, though. It would have been one score.
For sure. They would have been one score. We build up the Chargers like we did every year, and then they're one game out of the playoffs, and everyone's like, why aren't the Chargers good? I wonder what it is. And then it takes them 8 years to fire their coach. I
love Jim Harbaugh so much. It's so frustrating. I'm so happy he didn't actually go to Chicago. Chicago didn't pull the trigger there. But like, what are we doing? It's all literally the only thing different about the Chargers this year is that they believe in themselves. It's because Jim Harbaugh's there. That's all he does. He calls Herbert a beast 24/7. Now Herbert's like, I am a beast.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only difference.
It's nice seeing him play with confidence.
Yeah. It's nice seeing him play in general.
It's nice seeing him play without his coach. Like, yeah, we're eliminated from the playoffs. You guys don't even need to try anymore.
That was insane. Like, it was like 3 weeks left of the season. Like, we're not going to, that's basically what's probably happening with the Jets right now.
Yeah.
That's so true.
How are they that bad? It's insane.
Well, it is a little bit when all the games go like this. I think it's Luke's, like, they are convinced they will find a way to lose every game. And
they will.
Yeah.
Every week.
I'm the biggest Aaron Rodgers supporter on earth, but I'm also a big supporter in some teams are just fucked. Like you're never gonna get anything out of the Jets. You're never gonna get anything out of the Browns. You're never gonna get anything out of the Bears. They're just teams that whatever the higher up power, more than the owners, if it's the football gods, whatever, it's just a big fuck you to those teams, which I'm here for. I love that.
Same. And we all know that, but there's one fan base who doesn't know that. And that was very clear after this week. That's the Buffalo Bills. They are legit this year now. That's what I heard. They finally got over the hump and beat the Chiefs, even though they always beat the Chiefs in the regular season. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm more confident than ever. This just means they're going to beat the Bills in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl.
It's a terrible sign when a team that loses is applauding right after the game's over. They cut to like 5 guys, and Travis is like, it's all right, everybody. It's all right. Like everyone's like, oh, what are you going to do? They wanted to lose.
Yeah. Yeah. It's bulletin board material. It's like
no more script bullshit.
True. Yeah. They get that completely thrown off now. Now the Bills are the chosen team. It's stupid. It's like every single year. It happens every single year. It's so dumb. And speaking of every single year, Luke, we also talked about this, but thoughts on the Packers beating the Bears once again. The Bears, I mean, they suck.
It's the same shit every year. Like I wrote up an article for the newspaper, and I just went down and listed like the last 20 years, just all the plays where the Bears got absolutely fucked by the Packers. And it happens every single game, every single year, no matter who's playing, no matter what the score is, the Bears are going to get fucked, and that's what happened again. And it's incredible to watch every single time.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah.
Like they talk so much shit.
Yeah.
And they can't win. They're cursed against the Packers. They suck. And now, I mean, they're gonna completely implode. There's no way this team does anything.
I will say that if I wasn't a Packer fan, theoretically, that they kind of hammered the long snapper there, and me as a long snapper is long snappers are people too. Jake, I don't know if you heard that the story that I told Zach, but back when I was in high school, I used to long snap, punch, field goals, and you're not allowed to hit the long snapper when his head's down, right?
Yeah.
So I would snap the ball and I would run 10 yards downfield with my head down, so nobody would touch me. And then as soon as the punt returner would go for the catch, I'd lower my head, like aim it at his nuts so that he'd back up, and the ball would bounce off his chest, and I probably recovered 2 or 3 fumbles that way.
That is the most high school football bullshit. That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
Did you ever get called out on that?
I mean, it was never like, oh, you shouldn't do that, because it was working.
That's true.
You're just playing inside the rules.
Yeah.
I will say, did you have a good dynamic with your punter? Because that feels like a good, like, kick it in a straight line. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. And punter was a stud, too. He punted like 50, 60 yards, and everyone else was blocking. I'm the only one down there running head down.
Just punt it high. Yeah, you're gonna get down there in time.
Yeah, it was great. It was incredible.
I didn't ever do that, but I did one time in C team football. It was long snapper, and I yelled at someone, "You can't touch me," when they definitely could have.
Yeah. So on the field goals when I would snap, like these defensive linemen would be getting close to me, like, "You got to back up, buddy. Like I get my space here," and everyone would always move.
It's because that's the only thing they know about punting.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, can't hit him.
Can't touch the long snapper.
Yeah.
It was incredible on some of the field goals. We get people to like back up, and then we'd play teams where they'd run 5 guys at the guard, and the guard would just end up on his ass. They call him mullet and look over him like, fucking idiot. Imagine getting touched on that. Couldn't be me.
No, you're the safest person on the field right now.
It's like one time, I can't remember, Zach, if this was while you were on the team or not, but one time a team tried to run the swinging gate against us, and they tried to tell Coach Peterson, like, you have to line everyone up across from the gate. Like, you have to put everyone over there. Yeah. He was like, no. Like they were like, you have to line up on the gate. He's like, that's a bunch of bullshit. You do not have to line up on the gate. That's how you
tell his Hall of Fame head coach about how it's so stupid.
Mondovi had their own rules, man.
Was it a ref or was it a coach?
The coach tried to have the ref be like, hey, can you go tell him?
Do you mind telling him over there that he needs to do this for us?
Yeah, it was a weird one. I can't even remember if it was varsity or not, but I do remember I was like, has that ever worked? That's the only way anyone's ever counted the swinging gate, is you just put everybody in front of the fucking quarterback.
Yeah, and we practiced it. Did you guys ever run the swinging gate, or did you have to prepare for a swinging gate?
Never.
Every year. I think it was Boyceville for us when I was there, though, Jake. When the week you have to prepare for the swinging gate, it's like you're about to go to fucking Vietnam. It's like, we could not screw this up. It was like an hour. It's like, we just every day, at least 20 minutes every single day, we have to just drill against swinging gate every single time. What if this happens? What if this happens? It's like Brainiac football. And we saw it. We were right. We saw it. Stopped it.
We didn't have to prepare against much. Like, we played the Green Bay schools, Green Bay East and Green Bay West, and those are like 2 of the worst fucking football teams I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, really? Green Bay West you do the field goal, snap the ball, and then the 2 ends would run into each other and lay each other out. It was so fucking funny. And then when we were kneeling against Green Bay East or Green Bay West, they would rush as hard as they could. It was like 10 seconds left. We're up, 52-7 or whatever. And one of the guy on my team goes, "Why are you guys rushing so hard?" He goes, "In case you guys fake kneel." Like, this is what we had to prepare for.
They couldn't even handle you head down. Imagine if you could looking at them.
True. Green Bay's not the cream of the crop for. At least the city kids are not the cream of the crop for football players.
Right, like Notre Dame there or something is super good.
Yeah.
And then the surrounding, like some of the Appletons are good.
Yeah, but not the inner city.
It's so interesting. I think the only other thing, Zach, we ever prepped for in high school that was like that was Glenwood City always pulled all of their guards. They did the big sweep. So that practice week 1, as a guy who was constantly on the scout team, fucking sucked, because I was like, you never make me pull. And now this week I get yelled at because I'm not fast enough. Like, I knew that already. I'm trying to get my butt over there to replicate this, but it'd be a whole week of just getting laid out on the side, and then we play them. And they won state back-to-back years when I was in high school, so it was like, great.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, they did. They were a smaller conference, so it was like the one year they took like 4th in the conference and still won state. But when I was in high school, after you left, especially the class after you, we fucking sucked. So it'd be like, we practiced for Glenwood all week and then got beat. We got it down, folks, 60-0. It'd be like, great. Why are we practicing this? Yeah.
Yeah. I think the last time I played them, they had literally 13 players on their team. So it was fine.
I will say, there's nothing better than like rural Wisconsin schools where the only play they run is power right. And then the coaches are just going fucking bananas. Where it's a 2-8 team versus like a 3-7 team, with neither team has a chance to make the playoffs. And these coaches are just cussing up a storm. Like, there's 15-yard penalties going out on sidelines. That is what football is to me.
That's so true.
That the only pass pattern they throw is a slant too. So you just back up and stand in the window. The quarterback just like he freezes. He doesn't know what to do.
Well, he will throw the defender the ball.
He has to. That's where the window is.
Right.
And by the way, Boyceville's other trick: drop the nose guard into coverage.
It's a good trick.
Yeah, it is a great trick.
Packers were doing with Devontae Wyatt this week.
They did, and you know what? Caleb Williams fell for it.
How do we feel about Wyatt? This is my last question for Luke, I think.
How do you feel about him, Luke?
I don't know. Like last year it was nice, right? I feel like a lot of Packer fans. I don't know about you guys, but me in Green Bay here around a lot of Packer fans are still kind of latching to that. Oh, like we saw what we got out of him last year. Why can't he be that this year? I mean, he's been dealing with injuries. To be honest, he hasn't looked like anything like he's looked last year.
Yeah.
Not that he's played bad, not that he's played good. He's just kind of been a body. I don't really have a strong opinion on how he's playing. But that's probably due to a couple injuries that he was through this year.
Yeah, I think he's more of a blue guy.
I don't know.
Out of his gym.
He's a cool guy.
I mean, him and Quay Walker are a little bit too buddy for me.
But, well, there was a clip. That was the only thing I wanted to bring up was there was a clip of Quay Walker getting the team excited, and they were like, "The team's really into it," and I was like, "No. Wyatt's super into it." It was everyone kind of paying attention, and his buddy Wyatt going, "Yeah." It's like, okay, there we go. It's like good cop, better cop. Yeah, all right.
Those two are ride or die, which unfortunately is Georgia's football slogan every time they get behind a wheel. I like both of them a lot. It's true. I like them a lot more than Van Ness, though. That dude needs to do something.
Fair. Yep.
Anything.
Iowa.
Why? Like, why have we got this guy? Let's get an Iowa guy. He's Dean Lowry out there. That's about
miss Dean Lowry.
Same.
you bringing up that Quay Walker hyping the guys up on the sideline and only Devontae Wyatt going after it. You guys remember a couple of years back when Julius Peppers was on the team and like Clinton Dix was just playing. It was like one of the worst players I've ever seen in my life, and he was like getting up all in front of the defenders' faces, and Julius Peppers just got up and pushed him out of the way. Like I don't know if there's going to be a scarier person to like push you out of the way than Julius fucking Peppers.
No, he's terrifying. Trying to think of any other high school football stuff. Did you guys have to put your fours up at the start of the fourth quarter and get hyped for that?
Hated it.
I hated it too. There's people who lived for that shit though.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like they were working all week for that one moment. And it's usually the people not in the game.
Whenever I watch like NFL college football with my dad, fourth quarter comes up, get the fours up. I'm like, brother, I haven't played high school football in 8 years.
It is an old school mentality.
Yeah.
They love that. And we had an orange crush. We did that after the games. Get the helmet up and you slam into the ground for some reason and break the helmet a little bit.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, my helmet definitely got broken. And the air, by the way, Jake, I'm not sure if I ever told you this. Whole senior year, the air bladder in my helmet was completely, you couldn't even inflate it.
Oh, God.
Big reason for the concussions.
I mean, makes a big difference. I did see, shout out, friend of the pod, hopefully he's listening, Josie Bauer did give someone else a concussion in Orange Crush because he held it up in the air. hit fucking Ryan Bridges as hard as he could in the back of the head, which why we let those two within 5 feet of each other, I don't know, but like he went up for the Orange Crush, swung down, whack, and it was like there's one thing you have to do and it's not hit anybody else.
Trying to think if I should explain like those two people to Luke or not.
No, everyone knows.
Or how. Okay.
Luke
knows. Probably understands what these two
I think I kind of get the idea. Another really good part about high school football, especially if like your team's not that good, it's just the fucking dumbasses who don't know anything in school and don't know anything about football, but they go fucking 150% every single play, and you have no idea what's going to happen. That's an incredible part of high school football.
Red wine, Jake.
I know. I've told this joke too many times, but I mean, Derek Redwine was that. Luke, you'll understand this in long snapper. It's my favorite memory in football, which is I was long snapping, coming down the field, and first one down there, long snappers till we die. So I was down there, fair catch. Redwine played with his heart on his fucking sleeve, man, including when he ran past me at 1,000,000 miles an hour because he didn't know the fair catch rule. hit this kid as hard as he could. Mid-fair catch, hit him before the ball got there. Ball bounced off him. He scooped the ball up, ran over to me, and he said, "You see that fucking play?" And I said, "Yeah, dude." But
it's
every ref from the county threw a flag. That was my favorite. Was the back judge flew one. But it was awesome. It was also like the best line about it was Red White afterwards goes, "Damn, man, did you know that was a rule?" Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah. Everybody knew that was a rule.
It's the best, man. There's just no rules like for anybody in high school football. It's either you're really good or you're really bad. If you really know football or you don't, and the people who don't know football, like I bet there's a lot of college careers that were ended in high school because of these stupid dumbass players.
Oh, for sure.
That punt returner never returned another punt. That's right. No way, you can't trust it. Also, playing with dumbasses, like you have to be a ride or die all the time.
Yeah, for sure,
like,
always.
Red Wine was a great example of like the rest of my time playing with him. It was like, oh, what a dumb fucking rule. And it'd be like, yeah, you're right. Everyone had to be like, you're right. There shouldn't be a fair catch rule. Like it wasn't obvious. Like he's like, why wouldn't you let me hit somebody? It's like, oh, that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
We had this kid my senior year. He was a sophomore. We'd bring him in at running back. Dumber than a box of rocks. We called him Bobo. He was a bowling ball. He could run the ball, right? But he would run with his head down. So he couldn't see the defenders. He couldn't even see the line, couldn't see the hole or anything. He'd just spear right into the line. So he did that once. He spears into the line, gets through it, sees the safety, and hurdles the guy like as he's diving on his legs. The safety like pushes up and he like does a flip and he comes back to the huddle. He's laughing his ass off. He's like Rob Gronkowski. He's laughing his ass off. Goes, did you guys see how much air I got there? And it's just an incredible line. Like I don't know. It's high school football, man.
It is.
That's good.
It's good.
Jake, did you ever have to go to Winona for their football camp?
No, didn't have to. Wasn't asked. Didn't need to.
Okay. That's basically, so it's a college like exposure camp, Luke. So all the schools come and like, you're running against everyone for whatever reason. And I still don't know to this day, our coaches left like 2 days early. So we were playing scrimmages by ourselves, calling our own plays, doing our own shit. And it was just the most chaotic bullshit of all time. I was playing running backs for some of the plays. We were just doing, and we played like the number one team in Minnesota, just got our absolute shit rocked. It was just a disaster of a camp the entire time. It was fun. It also one of the worst weeks of my life. It was pretty great.
That's what we had. We would scrimmage Kimberly every year, like when they were in their prime, just players on players on players. And we'd go there and like, we can't even move. There's no fucking chance we're doing anything. We can't move the ball. We can't do anything. I mean, like every single play, Kimberly touchdown, and we'd be fighting for 3 yards.
I mean, that's basically what Grantsburg was for us too.
Well, and I was just gonna say, Zach especially had a lot more run-ins with Grantsburg. I did. Post Zach's run-in with Grantsburg, we did a fucking they were always one of the teams we did a preseason scrimmage against.
Yeah.
And so they would always show up with all the Chenaults. They were all there. Name them. They were on the team.
Leo Chenault, all of them. Fucking man.
So they were down the thing. And to that point, we play. Grantsburg was the only scrimmage. They'd let the starters play the whole day, and then I had to play against Grantsburg because they didn't want anybody getting killed by the Chenaults. I couldn't block Chenault's sister, let alone Leo. So I'm out there trying to slow anybody down that I can. That was my favorite. The only time I ever talked back to a coach. I got called for holding on 2 consecutive plays. And Coach Tron, love of my life, he goes, "What do I got to do to get you to stop holding?" I said, let him kill the quarterback. I mean, those are the options. I don't know. You can run for his life or I can hold him.
Insane. Leo Chenault was just as strong as he was now as a freshman in high school. I think in one of the playoff games against Elk Mountain that after I graduated, obviously, I think he got 18 tackles.
Jesus.
He's scary. He was insane.
Yeah.
Anything else before we get out of here?
No.
Luke, who's winning the Super Bowl? Can't say Kansas City.
Yeah, I hate Kansas City. Well, I'll go through the teams that I hate. I hate Kansas City. I hate Detroit. I hate Buffalo. I hate Philadelphia. I hate Arizona. I'm just thinking of playoff teams right now. Not that they're going to win the Super Bowl. Really, the only team I like are probably Green Bay and Baltimore and Washington. But after seeing what Pittsburgh did to Baltimore, Pittsburgh's being slept on. Not that they're going to win a Super Bowl, but just kind of being slept on in general. I think they're right at that line of contender. But probably I hate it so much. I hate them. I hate Amon-Ra St. Brown. I love Dan Campbell. Love Jared Goff. Hate everyone else on the team. I mean, how can you pick against Detroit right now?
They're so good, but
peaking too early.
Know it's yeah, exactly. We know what's going to happen. They're going to run one too many trick plays in the playoffs and lose.
I guess no one's really talking about Alex Anzalone's out, and that's going to kill him too.
Yeah, that's a huge one. And then they think Zadarius Smith is going to actually make the team better instead of worse. We know how that goes. So
I'm not out on the 49ers yet.
I'm not either.
Oh, no. They're saying fire Shanahan right now. They're in a dangerous spot.
Please do.
Where they get good.
Yeah.
I mean, agreed. Yeah, before this week, preferably.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
I'm not out on them.
If I had to pick someone else, I do think right now, I mean, the Bills are a very complete team. They're doomed.
Don't do that. Yeah, they'll be in the playoffs for sure. And then they'll play Kansas City and lose.
I need to see Damar Hamlin die again.
With that, thank you, everybody. Great show.
Yeah, we will. I mean, it's going to happen. But we will be. What?
I believe in him. I believe in him. He fixed it.
Fixed what?
His heart.
Okay.
It couldn't get much worse.
I think he's
That's
better
true.
now.
True. Yeah, very true. Very true. We'll be back next week as we get very close to our 200th episode.